Hello and welcome to the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Our guest today is Sherri Roberts-Lumpkin, and she is Miss Maryland Senior America. Welcome.
Thank you.
And she's got on the gear and everything, the
Yes.
crown and everything.
Yes.
So glad to have you. I found you, I think I saw you in a magazine.
Okay.
And I said, let me get in touch with this wonderful woman who is representing senior women. We are the forgotten population.
Yes.
Women who are over 50, we are forgotten by advertisers. We're just like a forgotten population. Once you reach a certain age, you know, it's like we don't matter anymore.
Yes, it can seem that way.
So glad to have you.
Thank you so much.
So let's start off. How did you get involved with the Miss Maryland Senior America pageant?
So I got involved with the Miss Senior America pageant through seeing a friend on Facebook who was an older woman who became my mentor for the pageant, becoming Miss DC Senior America, and then going on to the nationals and becoming a runner-up. And I thought, how did you do that? I think you're so amazing. And she said, she told me all about it. And she said, I think you'd be a good candidate for Maryland because Maryland hasn't had a representative in a few years. And I was like, well, how would I do that? First I thought, no, I couldn't do that. But she encouraged me. She's like, you have all the things you need. I watch your Facebook and Instagram pages. I like your work. I think that is all that we need because we need to represent women of confidence and substance, and that just because you're over a certain age doesn't mean that you are ready to die and you're vibrant. And so she told me what I needed to do, and I had to contact the Senior America pageant because I did not have a pageant in Maryland that I could run in. And this is good because the Senior Miss America pageant always wants all the states. They don't always have all the states represented, and Maryland was not represented. So in order for me to be a representative, I had to contact them and do all the things I needed to do to get the crown, and that was apply to the national pageant. And so once I applied to the national pageant, I did a fundraiser on GoFundMe to be able to pay for the fees and everything that I needed. And I really got a lot of people to fund me, which I thought was amazing because I wasn't sure how I would pay for it. So then I was able to be crowned Miss Maryland and represent the state, and then from there I was able to start to send my information out to talk to people so that I can come and let them know who I am. In addition to that, we would like to create a pageant for Maryland, and that would be through cameo clubs. Cameo clubs usually are the ones who support the Miss Senior America pageants all over the different states. And Maryland doesn't have a cameo club. And so working with Washington, D.C., who has one, they're helping us to maybe develop it, and I would be able to help the next person become Miss Senior Maryland.
So what is the process like? Take us to, you have to fill out an application?
Yes.
What are some of the questions that they ask you?
The questions are like, what is your life philosophy? What about being over 60, because you have to be 60 and over to be in the Miss Senior America pageant. What about over 60 has you feel different than you felt when you were younger, and how is your confidence now? The other questions are, what would you do if you had this crown? How would you present yourself? What would you do to help other people? And so mostly it's about the philosophy, vitality, what kind of volunteer work have you done? What have you done in the world? And that's basically what you have to do, answer those kinds of questions. And then you have to have a talent. I frankly did not have a dancing talent. I mean, okay, I can dance, but I don't think that was for the stage. And I don't sing. So I did a monologue, which was about the work that I do. So that really helped me to get advanced through the pageant.
So tell us about the work that you do.
Yes, I have a nonprofit called the Rag Baby Exchange. The Rag Baby Exchange uses doll making as a tool to build self-esteem and self-worth in women and children. It is an opportunity to create in your own image, right? And so you have a fabric doll that is really, this is the most important thing about this, is that you have to pick your own complexion. And that may sound so easy for you to do, but it's very hard for most people who are of color.
Why?
Because most people who are of color have dealt with colorism or racism or the lack of representation of themselves, right? Especially when they're, I would say, especially middle school. It's very hard for them to say, if they're the darker tone, to pick a darker complexion of brown, because they say that's an ugly color, or people call them ugly because they're brown, or they just, you know, see on TV what looks beautiful. Even though we have a lot more black people in commercials now, it's often a mixed person. It's often a person that might have a different hair texture. So they see these things, and they don't see themselves in that.
So people usually choose the lighter tone opposed to the darker tone.
They will, yes. So there are a lot more young people whose parents have really instilled to them how beautiful they are nowadays. There's a lot more, and I see them picking it. But I will still tell you that almost every workshop that I've done, if it's a younger person, if it's 2 dolls left and they're brown, and this doll, one doll is light and one doll is brown or a little darker than them, they're not picking that. And lots of times we'll have that conversation to try to help them get through it. I'm not ever going to force anybody, but most of the time I get them to choose their color by just telling them how beautiful they are. But the most important thing about the workshop is that you find out that you're beautiful from the inside, right? Because we are releasing negative self-talk, these kinds of thoughts, these kinds of hurts, and we're replacing it with positive affirmations.
So you do different exercises to help people get in touch with that during the workshop?
Yes, we do exercises. We do mirror work. We write love letters to our younger selves, especially when we're women. We write affirmations to replace the negative thoughts that we had. We tear up the negative thoughts in a way of release. We do a ceremony when we are putting the affirmations into the doll. There's a little thing that we do to try to make people feel like it's being set into the universe. And then we begin to design the doll with clothes, with fabrics, with all kinds of things that make us feel good about ourselves. Oftentimes you can have a kid who's with their parent, and the kid is just starting to design their doll, and maybe the fabrics don't match, and the parents will be like, don't do that, that doesn't match. And I have to, you know, intervene and say, don't worry about it. Let them create the way they create. Because at the end, what I found that when people look at their dolls, especially kids, because they're very expressive, it's like they're seeing themselves for the first time, and they just giggle. It's not a full, you know, realistic portrait. It's abstract. It's just a little fabric doll. But once they have this in their hand, I don't know if it's the energy of what they've stuffed inside or all the things they learned through the workshop, but they often giggle and they just stare at it. And then I've had women, you know, cry. They're like, I thought I was just doing a doll and I feel some kind of way. It just brought up some things. And so that is so precious to me. I love that.
I made it a point with my daughter, because I know how society is. My daughter's a little browner than I am. Made sure to tell her every day of her little life that she was beautiful.
Right, that's wonderful.
No matter what complexion. And I am so glad to hear that you're passing this on.
Thank you.
Because it was a different thing.
Yes.
In our generation.
It was a different thing in our generation. And I think, you know, my mom is just a tad darker than me, and she's beautiful. And this is my frame of reference. She's probably listening, but the thing is that she is beautiful. I mean, I can't go anywhere with my mom without, you know, she can overshadow me any day. And as
you
a kid,
are beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much.
You don't look a day over 30.
Thank you. But she, I saw pictures of her when she was young, and she was this beautiful, brown, dark, beautiful person, but people didn't treat her like she was beautiful. And I think that, you know, was what really fuels me, because I'm like, how can you look at this woman and not see? Back in the day, they didn't see it. Of course, now everybody notices her, but before it wasn't like that. And so when I was teaching at a museum, it's called the Anacostia Museum, and it's in Southeast DC. And I did actually a teacher of mine was in a show, and she happened to say to the museum, because I was a docent volunteer, she's like, she should teach a doll class because she makes dolls. And so I did. And when I started to teach the class for the little kids they were from school, and they were just, none of them were picking their color, their hair texture, boys, girls, none of them. And I would just say to them, I think your hair is so pretty. How about if I make the doll's hair like yours and put some barrettes on it? They would be apprehensive. But once I helped them, like I said, when they saw what was done, it was like, oh my God, I am beautiful, or I am smart, or I am this, you know?
So you use that as your talent?
I used that as my talent in the pageant, but I did a monologue. And I did a monologue of 3 different dolls that I made. I had done an exhibit of healing from colorism, and I had 3 complexions of dolls. And I had a light, almost white complexion doll, a middle tone, and a brown doll. And I actually made the brown doll with mixed gray hair and natural mixed gray hair. So I did these 3 dolls, different styles, and then I took them on stage, and I had them in a little box, and I talked about when I was a child, I used to love this doll, you know? And then one day I realized she didn't look like me, and the people I loved on TV, they looked like her, not me. And then I talked about how that affected me, and I felt, wow, maybe I'm just not good enough. And then I went to my second doll, which was a mid-tone, beautiful. All the girls, you know, in middle school and high school wanted to be her because she looked so amazing, but she still didn't look like me. And then I went to the third doll, and of course it was longer than this. And when I went to the third doll, I said, but now at this age, I've decided that I am good the way that I am. And look at her, she has hair even like me. Now I accept my gray hair, I accept my complexion, I accept all my curves. I accept who I am. So that really touched people somehow, because I just took it from the beginning to the end, and how just accepting yourself over 60 as still being a beautiful, vibrant human being that has so much more to add to the table, you know, so much knowledge from before.
Now, this took place in Atlantic City, the actual
the national pageant.
How
yes.
many women?
It was 47 women out of 50. And I placed in the 12 finalists, thank you.
Yay!
So
and
yes.
How was it represented as far as minorities?
So I would say that there were 7 black women out of the 47, and there was 1 woman that was Hawaiian. So that was the demographic of the pageant.
So what are you doing now? What is your platform as Miss Maryland Senior America?
My platform is the mental health of seniors, the self-esteem, confidence, and vitality and well-being of women and children. And I really want to express how women over 60, or even men, we need to take care of ourselves. Yes. And we need to not think that we're not worthy of being in society, because society needs us. They need our knowledge, our wisdom, and believe it or not, most of us are still beautiful. It's not that we just shrivel up and die. We have so much more vitality and knowledge and energy than people believe.
And how are you doing that? Are you going to senior facilities? How are you doing
So I'm going to senior facilities to either speak or do a workshop similar to the Rag Baby workshop, but I also do other workshops where I have an affirmation kit where I help people look in a mirror, find themselves, talk about their, you know, self-esteem. And it's not just about beauty. The Miss Senior America pageant is about your inner beauty, you know, shining without, right? And that makes the outside of you beautiful. So that's one thing that I really like to help seniors remember, that they still have it, they still got it, and they're still, you know, vital, and they just have to take care of themselves with exercise and eating correctly and believing that they're worthy. Taking classes, you don't stop taking classes just because you're over a certain age.
What do you do to stay healthy?
Oh, what I do, I have a morning routine that I must do. I have to have green tea in the morning. It's my ritual. I have to have my green tea.
You and my son. He has to have his green tea.
I have to. And I like jasmine or matcha green tea the most. And with that, I like to, I would say that I meditate every day, but there's sometimes, You know, I get through some times where I don't. But meditation is key to helping me.
Indeed, it is.
Yes.
Just even if, and I tell people all the time, even if you start off with 1 minute before your feet touch the floor,
Yes, I agree.
sitting in silence.
In silence.
And then from there, you can grow it to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however long you need.
And
you can add
this-
positive affirmations to that.
Yes.
You can add visualizations to that. But start off before your feet hit the floor in the morning. Just that minute of silence makes all the difference.
It really does. It's really a time for you to just let everything go and not to think of the negative in the world or things that are happening in your life that are really painful. I do think that also throughout the day, I have my moments where I just stop. Even if I'm driving, I just stop the chatter in my head, because I am one of those people who could get to where I have to do this, I haven't done that, did I do it right, did I do it perfect, I want to make sure I did this. I get through that sometimes, and so I just like breathe. I oftentimes when I'm driving, I'm doing a breathing exercise, because I just want to always find a way to come back to calm.
What have you learned about yourself?
I learned that I can do it, because honestly, if Vanilla Jackson Crawford is the one who is the former Miss Senior DC, who is also my mentor. She kept telling me that I could do this, and she thought that I was a candidate for this. And I was saying, I don't know, I don't have a talent, what am I gonna do? How can I do this? But I always wanted to be a queen. According to my mother, when I was a little girl, I wanted that. When I got this crown on my head, I was like, oh my God, I just like the crown.
This feels right.
Yes, it's perfect. And so I just feel like I pushed myself beyond my my knowledge that I could do it, because I was very scared. And oftentimes when people say when I speak, I'm not projecting, my voice is soft. So I worked at it. It was still a little soft on the stage, but I did get past how it used to be. And so I think I just really grew in that way. I grew to know that all the things that I've been doing most of my life, as far as affirmations, kindness, helping people with self-esteem, my workshops that I do, I'm a graphic designer. It feels like everything came together in this moment of all the experiences I had, and I just projected it on the stage.
Now, we started off talking a little bit about your morning routine. What else do you do?
So I'm going to tell you that there was one time that there was not a day that I didn't walk in the morning, every single day. I'm not going to say that's happening right now, but that is the desire to continue to walk every day, because walking is one of the best exercises for you. I also like to take yoga classes, and sometimes I'll take a yoga scheduled class that I'll continue taking. Sometimes I'll take it just once a week. I'll go there and then try to do the stretches at home. I want to be able to take an intensive class so that I may teach seniors some yoga, but I'm not there yet.
Oh, very good, very good. I'm a yoga instructor, so
I
you
saw that.
are
saw
really speaking to me
Yes.
when it comes to stuff like that.
Yes.
What is your advice to women our age?
Well, my advice to women our age is to remember that you're still here, and that you're still vital, and that you are worthy to be here. And in being worthy, that means that you can do all the things you desire to do. You don't really have to say, I'm too old to wear that. I'm too old to go there. Why would any guy like me? You don't need to say that. All you need to do is focus on who you are and what you have, and let it shine.
You know, just like we were talking about with the colorism thing, how society tells us that if someone is mixed, that they're better looking than someone who's darker skin. Society tells us as well, in the TV commercials you see, the posts you see, it tells us that we're not as valued as we age.
I agree, and I think that this is what I'm asking everyone to realize, that isn't the truth. You know, sometimes a fact may feel like a truth, but it's not a truth. The truth is that, why are you still here? Why do you feel good? You feel good because you are worthy, and you should be here, and you should be doing the things that you do because you have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of love, I might say. The love that you can give to people because you've been through so much. You understand how things have hurt you. You understand how when someone extended love to you, how it made you feel. You know how to take, you can see a little child like crying and other people are like, why are you crying, why are you crying? You can just walk up to them and just be like, are you okay, baby? And they'll just like change because they feel your love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that you have to realize that because you're older does not mean that you are just going somewhere to die.
And a lot of us too, at this age, you're dealing with your children, you're dealing
parents.
with your parents.
Yes.
We're in that kind of sandwich situation. Some of us are retired, and who am I after this job? You know, for 30 years I've been working for the government, or I've been doing this, I've been doing it. Who am I outside of that?
Yes, and I think sometimes it gives you the opportunity, instead of saying, I'm nothing without those things, it gives you the opportunity to say, who am I really and what do I want? Because now I can really do these things I want. Sometimes we're hindered by finances, you know, which I think is a big issue for people over a certain age, you know, especially now in our government situation. But I think that oftentimes you don't know if you just push yourself to do something. Like I'm telling a friend now who is an amazing artist, and she's like, she has her mother and her sister, and she's just caregiver and amazing. She's this amazing woman. And she wants to be able to go to museums, she wants to be able to do art, but she can't. And I'm like, take, you know, 1 day, 2 hours, take a class. You can, at this age, now you have the time to take a class.
That's right.
You have a time that just, I want to go take a painting class. I want to take yoga class. I want to do belly dancing. You can do anything that you want to do, and you don't even have to be good at it, but it'll be fun while you're doing it, and then you may realize what you're good at. It could be a whole new thing that you do, not necessarily a career, but your thing.
Where are you going from here? How long is is it a year long?
It's a year long. So my crowning was at the end of August. So at the end of August, I hope by then we will have a type of pageant that somebody can apply to be Miss Maryland. And if it doesn't happen this year, it will definitely happen next year. But someone can still be sent to the pageant to represent Maryland. And for me, I'm hoping that it opens up more of me speaking and talking, bringing to life just the idea of mental health and kindness and self-love.
In the mental health piece, and I say this over and over again, in the African American community, we have to learn that it's okay to get help. If you need help,
okay to get help.
It is okay to ask for help. Everybody at some point in your journey, you need help. You need help,
and I think you need help with experts. And the thing that I find is that people don't understand that you go to the doctor once a year or often. You go for maintenance and checkup. Mental health needs maintenance. Mental health, you need to understand boundaries. You need to understand approaches. You need to understand when something isn't working for you. Even when you just feel sad, you need to say to yourself, why am I feeling sad? Or do I just need to get over this? Right now, let me just be sad for this 2 days and then get up on the 3rd day and continue your life. But you need to have maintenance. And if that is going to see somebody, or that is just working with your own mental health, being conscious of who you are in the moment and why you feel the way you feel, don't ignore it. Because just like if you feel little tingles in your body, don't ignore that. Your body and your mind are always telling you what you need to help it.
And I want to talk more about never being too old to be loved.
Never being too old
Just
to be
because you're over 60 doesn't mean you can't meet somebody. Doesn't mean you can't date, you can't fall in love again. Your heart can't be full again.
And I will tell you that I'm over 60 and I'm engaged. So
wow.
So yeah, so I think that you're never too old to be in love. You really aren't. And I think, like I said, the most important thing is to remember that you're worthy. Even when you're feeling like it's all coming down on you, you have to remember that you're worthy and that this too shall pass, but you've got to get up and do things for you. You know, just like they always say on the airplane, you know, get the mask down for yourself first before you help someone else. You got to help yourself, and it's all emotional and mental.
I always, I get on my sister about this all the time. Oh, I'm too old to meet somebody. Oh, oh, they like men our age like young girls. Women.
But young guys, our age, young guys younger than us like us. So it's like, so either way, like I thought that for a while too, that I was just like, oh wow, they only like young girls. I mean, they do, but they're not oftentimes a match. You know what I'm saying? They like it because it's fun and it's a minute. But once you find someone that, I'm not going to say equally yoked, I'm going to say someone who understands or enjoys the way you are and you enjoy the way they are, and then you combine your ways together, it's beautiful.
And I tell people to be open. Mm-hmm. Mr. Right might not look like the Mr. Right you were looking for 20 or 30 years ago.
And 20 or 30 years ago, we had a list. You know, he had to be
yes.
tall, handsome, this kind of job, doing that. And now, I think sometimes you need to throw that list away, and you just need to, like, you want to be accepted for who you are. They want to be accepted for who they are. And I think it only happens that it doesn't work is when you compromise how you're being treated.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. In wrapping up our discussion, last bit of advice for women our age, feeling good about yourself. Like you said, do things like take classes, exercise, eating right, yes. Just doing the things to look like you, doing the things you need to do to be your best self.
Yes. So again, I will just say that you have to realize that you are worthy. That's the most important thing, because when you are mindful of that, even when you're talking to yourself and you're saying negative things, you're saying to yourself what you will not allow your friend to say to herself. So when you say something like, oh God, I'm getting so old and ugly, if your friend said that, you'll be like, girl, stop that. What are you talking about? You're beautiful. Stop yourself. That's the most important thing, I think. And then the other thing is, baby, wear what you want to wear.
Yes.
I have on a short skirt right now, and I'm not worried about that.
You are looking fly. Thank you so much, Sherri Roberts-Lumpkin.
Thank you.
Miss Maryland Senior America.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You've been watching the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Enjoy the rest of your day.